All right, welcome back. Let's everyone close your eyes. Take a couple deep, slow breaths and see if you could just observe your mind. What's your mind saying? Is it in the past or the future? Is there emotional charge linked to it? You excited, afraid? Whatever it is, just observe it and know if you're observing the mind, ask yourself, who is the one observing the mind? And just wait for the answer. And that is you. You are that. Not the mind, not the body. Pure conscious awareness. All that ever is, was, or ever will be. The observer, the eternal witness within. And this is the only thing that will transition eternally after this reality, forever and ever. The essence of our being, our true nature. And when you're ready, just open your eyes and see if you could do that a few times throughout the day as a reminder. And so, as I've been saying, and I'll continue to say, the entire purpose and premise to realize the self is to go from the mind, which is covering up our true self, and have a split so we're able to observe the mind. And if we're observing the mind, we know something has to be observing, be an observer of the mind. And so we want to identify with the observer of the mind. So we have that split. And so the very first step would be to see if you could observe the mind, ask a couple questions, such as who is the one observing the mind? Who am I? You wait for the answer. The answer is going to be silence, because the eternal witness within is silence. Silence is everything. And it won't make sense as one tries to think about it, because this transcends the mind. The mind cannot understand its non existence. So when the mind is silent, when the mind is still, when the mind is quiet, when the mind is dissolved, then our true self is there. And it operates intuitively. We're an obsessed culture, all about the mind, thinking all the time. And so the constant flow of thoughts is creating our reality. And in a certain extent, that's true. But most of people's realities are negative because most of people's thoughts are negative. So when you look at the average person, thinks 60,000 thoughts per day. About 75% of those thoughts are negative thoughts. People are living in negative thought loops because our thoughts are 90 to 95% the same as they were yesterday. So people are in negative thought loops, and this is creating negative emotional responses, and it's just creating a circle, a loop, a negative feedback loop that's creating a negative reality. So what you'd want to do is get rid of thoughts. But if you can't get rid of thoughts, it's not that easy. um, I don't want to say get rid of thoughts, but identify as the conscious, quiet, silent witness within. um, Thoughts will come and go, so we're able to watch those thoughts and not identify with the emotional charges that they used to bring. It doesn't make sense unless, as you do it, it'll make more sense. So where do these thought loops stem from? Most of this stems from our childhood, deep traumatic, emotional experiences that created negative thought loops that we carry on into adulthood, and most people forever. And so most of the time it's when we're a child, but also if we encounter any severe traumatic experience, that will affect the subconscious as well. And what this really comes back to is brain waves. And so I'm going to go over brain waves here and then continue with brain waves going forward, because brain waves is a direct reflection of consciousness. What does becoming more conscious mean? Means becoming more of that eternal silent witness of our true self and not the mind. So, as I say before, the mind, the eternal silent witness. So, becoming more identified with this rather than the mind. The mind is the root cause of all suffering. And you could think every experience in your life, your mind caused suffering. It's what you thought about that created the suffering, the resistance of trying to change through your mind because you didn't want to go through a certain experience or feel a certain way. It's all the mind. So if the mind was silent, if the mind was quiet, or if we identified with not the mind but our true self, then suffering will cease. And this goes on to very interesting aspects as well, we'll get into a little bit later, such as if reincarnation exists, and most, I don't know about most, but many people do think so, then there's a way to bypass reincarnation as well as karma. So we're able to bypass karma as well as reincarnation by identifying with the self, the realized self. And so let's get into the topic of the day, which is brainwaves. So in our brain, we have electrical neural oscillations that stem from the middle part of our brain called the thalamus, as well as the cortex region of our brain. And it is measured in hertz or cycles per second, and it looks like, like a. So the fastest brainwave that we have is called gamma, and that resonates at 32 to 100 hertz. So it's very fast. And then just below that is alpha or beta, excuse me, and that's 13 to 32 hertz. That resonates at. And that's what most people are in. Most people are in a state of beta brainwaves. And beta is fight or flight, dopamine, stress in the future or the past, not in the present moment. It's a suffering state. It's a very stressed state. It's not a pleasant state to be in. So and now we go a little bit slower with that. Oh, it is worth noting that the most addictive the most popular drug in the world is what? caffeine. And what does caffeine do? Increases beta brainwaves. So it makes you wonder, once you start putting things together, it makes you wonder if there's, I don't want to call it a conspiracy, but if there's something that wants us in a faster fight or flight stressed brainwave state. Now, once we go a little bit slower, we get in the alpha brainwave state, and this is 8 to 13 hertz. And this is uh, when you're, as soon as you close your eyes, you start to produce more alpha. And this is a nice meditative, relaxed state in the present moment. And people suggest that this is normally our natural state. Our natural state should be an alpha brainwave state, and it's a very, very beautiful state. You feel calm and actually increased amount of love, uh, and it just you're relaxed, and your IQ, your emotional intelligence, your creativity jumps up too, as done by research for neurofeedback. If you've ever taken a neurofeedback or done neurofeedback, where they hook up electrodes to your scalp to measure the electrical impulses or the brain waves from your brain, and you're able to increase alpha brain waves through that. That's a whole topic in itself, and we'll go over that a little bit later. And as we go slower from alpha, remember alpha is 8 to 13, we're going to go to theta. Theta is 4 to 8 hertz, and that's a very, very slow brainwave state. Right before you go to sleep or fall asleep, you're getting into that theta. And as we dream in the sleep cycles, the dream state is the theta brainwave state. And this is the state where we're able to access the subconscious layers. And hypnosis works very much with that theta brainwave state. And that's a deep, deep relaxation. And it takes, I'm not sure how long it takes. It takes a while. If you ever done hypnosis, you imagine yourself walking downstairs and going down, 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 getting sleepy. And so, and with that, we're able to um, alter our subconscious programs uh, that we that are running us basically, and we're able to easier um, alter those and make for a better life. I don't know how would you explain it, but that's theta. We'll go into that more a little bit later as well, as we're going to do a deep dive into each one of these brain waves. And then delta is the slowest one. This one's a zero point 0.5 to 4 hertz. And this is very slow, and this is the deep, dreamless sleep that everyone has at night. And this is a very interesting brainwave. It's been suggested that it's called the God brainwave as well. Delta is very unique. Some people have waking delta brainwaves, and it's very interesting. There's many ways to get into this waking brainwave state. One of the ways, just off the top of my head, is through a float tank. So if you do a float tank or isolation tank, research by Dr. Feinstein has shown that um, the body produces theta and delta waves. So it's very interesting. It's basically like the body or the mind thinks it's asleep. It's a sleeping where your body's asleep but your mind's awake type of state. And so that you're able to really get in and work with say unconscious levels or layers of consciousness, and that's probably one we'll talk about a lot later. We'll talk about many different ways to get into these states, specifically delta brainwave states, because this is the state of stillness, of God. Be still and know that I am God. God lies within here, within all of us, in that stillness um, that lies separate from the mind. And so we're all able to access this and have these experiences with the divine, because we are the divine. We're everything. Everything is us. We're a reflection of everything. Well, yeah. And so what we're going to go over a bunch of different ways to access that within, and it takes a little bit of effort. more like an effortless effort, I guess you could say, patience, a little bit of perseverance and tenacity. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but yeah, yeah, it's actually easier than most people think to have that experience. So you could experience the stillness where there's a bright light and then you feel immense feelings of love. And so, okay, what I wanted to say too is there appears to be some sort of external forces that don't want us to realize this sense of who we are and keeps us disconnected from that. And so we're going to go into that here shortly. And I think that's enough for now. Getting a little sleepy here. All right. Thank you for being here. Take care.